What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about 5 reasons why you should consider buying an older flagship phone in 2022. I want to talk about the benefits, and I'll get into, I really think, only the one con with these older flagship phones. So basically, a lot of people want to know, because we focus a lot on kind of older phones on this channel. You can see we kind of focus on older flagships, and then we look at newer flagships and budget phones and stuff like that. So basically, the idea of the channel is we want to find really good products for a cheap price, right? And me personally, I'm still using my OnePlus 7 Pro, and I am going to upgrade it eventually. I've been using the Pixel, the 13 Pro, the S22 Ultra. I still haven't, I'm still sort of juggling through. All right, so one of the benefits of having an older flagship phone is on these premium devices these days, like an S22 Ultra, it's actually missing the headphone jack. And one thing you'll really like about older flagship phones is that they will have a headphone jack. And if you get something like an LG V50 or an LG V60, these phones actually have the quad DAC. So if I go ahead and plug in my audio, basically what that means is that if I have a good pair of headphones, I can get some really good high quality audio listening experience on this device. You can see that hi-fi quad DAC option right there. So when I plug it in, yeah, I just absolutely love that. I think for serious audio listeners, it's something that a lot of people will love. So I think that's one of the first things is, they got rid of the headphone jack, I believe, with the iPhone. It was one of the iPhones. I can't remember exactly which one it was. But yeah, they got rid of the headphone jack, and everyone else started taking it out because Apple pretty much decided that the future would be wireless earbuds, and they were correct, 100% correct on that. But the thing is, did they take it out prematurely? I think so. I think they took it out prematurely, especially on premium devices. And then, of course, whatever Apple does, the rest will follow suit if it's making them more money, because, people buying wireless earbuds makes them more money. So yeah, so that's basically the gist about the why they took out the headphone jack. Now, you can still find phones with a headphone jack that are newer. It's not many though. So like your Galaxies, we're talking about flagships here. Your Galaxies, Pixels, who else? OnePlus. All of the big smartphone manufacturers. I think Xiaomi doesn't have them either on their flagship devices. Only people that have them, I believe, are Asus with the ROG Phone 5, and then Sony has them in their flagship as well. So if you do want a newer phone, you're still going to spend a lot of money on those phones, but those do have headphone jacks. But for the most part, they're taking them out. All right, next would be expandable storage. So this is one that I 100% believe is strictly a money grab and very premature move. So something like the Galaxy Note 10 Plus or even the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, these phones have expandable storage. So they have SD card support. So this version is 256, 12 gigs of RAM on the Note 10 Plus. I can add a 512 gigabyte SD card for that. Now, the reason that they really just took the SD card out is obviously, again, to basically sell you up on the higher configuration. So the base model of the S22 Ultra is actually $1,200. It's 128 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM with no SD card support. So you're gonna pay, after taxes, you're looking at maybe $1,400 for the 256 gig version. And of course, you gotta buy a case because you already bought a phone. That's extremely expensive. So you can see how this gets really expensive, these newer phones, but they sort of lack a lot of features that people could possibly want. Like I said, some manufacturers like Sony, they'll give you an SD card, but a lot of the most popular ones are doing away with it. And again, strictly a money grab. I can't think of any other reason why they would take that option out. And what's interesting is how I know this is because with the Note 10 Plus versus the S22 Ultra comparison video that I did, a ton of the comments, that was a complaint that people saw that the lack of SD card support was a big thing for them. And you guys would say, well, I've never actually filled up storage on my phone, which is true. I've never filled up storage on my phone either. But there are a lot of people that shoot a lot of video on their phone. There are a lot of people that download a lot of games and movies and content. And they want that extra storage, right? And I feel like if you're paying $1,000 for a phone, you should definitely have all of the bells and whistles. So yeah, so that's one thing. SD card support is definitely a big thing. All right, next is going to be a pretty simple one, is the pricing. So like I said, the S22 Ultra base model costs $1,200. So as we can see, phones are getting actually a lot more expensive these days. And then if you get an older flagship phone, you can see the price goes down significantly. So, you know, the Note 10 Plus might have started off really high, but as the years go by, the price actually comes down a ton, and you can actually find these phones for around $417. The LG phones these days are extremely cheap. You can find those for around the $200 price point. And a lot of people get, I mean, I don't know, it might be marketing. So if something comes out like, you know, the next iPhone or the next Android, it's sort of like the marketing and the hype sort of makes these phones feel old and outdated. So like when this S23 Ultra comes out, it'll somehow, the marketing and the hype makes this phone feel old, and that's really not the case at all. I strictly believe that's all marketing, all hype. That's making people feel like they need to upgrade their phones here. So definitely one of the main benefits is price on here. It's just going to be awesome. All right, so next is going to be your gaming experience. You guys will not believe, a lot of people get shocked by this, about how close the gaming experience. So the iPhone 13 Pro arguably has one of the best processors. It gives off the best Geekbench and Antutu scores. This phone is really fast. You can play games at HDR Extreme, even up to 90 frames on PUBG now. So that's also kind of like a little benefit for hardcore gamers. But look at this. For a phone with a Snapdragon 855 and a much older phone, look, we can actually play at the same exact settings, HDR Extreme, even going up to Ultra HD. And the experience is extremely smooth on these older phones. So that's one thing that I always highlight to people, is these can be pretty cheap gaming devices, so you don't have to spend $1,000 to game. I think a lot of people get confused that they can't play, you know, PUBG and these, you know, high intensity games at high settings. Fortnite, PUBG, Call of Duty Mobile, they all work really great on these older phones. That's definitely one thing to consider. Alright, so lastly, I actually want to talk about the cameras. So I'm going to show you guys some side-by-side stills. But if you look at the image quality on older flagship phones, they're still kind of close to the newer phones. Now, I will say what the newer phones have is they have more fancier specs. Like the S22 Ultra has the 108 megapixel lens on here. It's got the 100 times space zoom, which I'm not sure if a lot of people will use like the zoom capabilities, but it's very cool to have those little features and stuff like that, all the fancy cameras and stuff like that. But if you just look at straight up the image quality, you guys can see that image quality is kind of close. And I had some people even in the comments say that they preferred the Note 10 Plus photos, some of the photos at least, over the S22 Ultra. Now, I'm not saying that these newer phones, these older phones just are going to beat the newer phones in image quality, you know, as a whole. But it's just crazy how close they are and how good the images still come out, you know, all these years later. So that is pretty much it, guys. Be sure to let me know, what do you guys think? Do you guys think you should pick up an older flagship phone? Do you guys think it's a better deal these days? Be sure to let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.